Damon, what should the franchise look like from this point on?
So this is a really interesting question because my biggest concern about going back into the Alien franchise, and this was before Romulus came out, was don't mess with the mythology. And I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'll just give the short the short version of I didn't want Alien Romulus to somehow have Ripley show up in her frozen, in the frozen ship, and somehow she just like floats through the screen. Or I didn't want Sergeant A. Pone to pop up in the finals, in the final thing, chomping a cigar, going, "All right, sweethearts, let's go." I didn't want that. And to Romulus's credit, while they did teeter on a couple of things here and there, they never blew away. They never tried to blow up the mythology. They didn't say, "Oh, we were actually on the same planet at the same time as Alien." They just didn't know we were there. None of that happened. So as far as where the future goes, I had faith in Fede Alvarez, and he delivered. I have faith in Noah Hawley. I have a hard time believing that guy is really good. He's really good. I have a hard time believing he's not going to deliver. So my 2 points for the future. One, if you're going to do sequels, you're going to do films set in the Alien universe, don't mess with the mythology. I don't need you to resurrect Ripley's daughter and suddenly she's a heroine. None of that. I don't need that. Don't do that. Part 2 of that, I know people are going to say, "Dude, I don't want to see that." You probably don't want to see what I'm about to suggest, but I'm going to throw it out there. Sigourney Weaver said, maybe it's time for Ripley to rest, but I'll always listen. I'll listen to ideas if they come across. We just talked about like how the original Halloween 2018, how good it was. Now it got completely messed up in the next 2 films following it, but 2018's Halloween was great. I'm not saying they should do this. I'm not even saying they will do this. But if James Cameron puts down the writing and camera for Avatar 98, and he writes a script and he says, "You know what?" Because if you listen to Sigourney and you listen to James Cameron, both of them, when they talk about Alien 3, the biggest thing they had a problem with that film is the same thing I have a problem with. They didn't like what happened to Hicks and Newt. They didn't like the way they were just kind of like written out at the beginning of that film. Neither one of them liked it. Do a direct sequel to Aliens with James Cameron directing. Bring back Michael Biehn all these years later. I know they're older. I'm not saying you ruin it. I understand people are like, "Well, you ruined the mythology." That's the one instance where it could work. If James Cameron decided to come back and said, "I want to make a new Aliens film and I want Sigourney Weaver back and I want Michael Biehn back." I don't know if they can get Carrie Hinn back because she's like a school teacher now, but bring, some version of that. If they want to do a direct sequel to Aliens and somehow, just like in the series with them that way, I would be like, "All right, cool." And you'd be on the theater first night too. Don't lie. That's it though. Otherwise, don't mess with it. I don't need another Ripley to come in. I don't need Ripley's daughter to show up. I don't need Apone to show up. I don't need Hudson or Hicks or anybody else to show up. Just do what Noah Hawley, hopefully what Noah Hawley's doing, do what Fede Alvarez did. That's my hope for the future. What about you?
I'm in the same boat. Don't mess with the future. And I'm even saying don't mess with Alien 3. And I know everybody's, even including Sigourney and James Cameron, are upset with what they did in Alien 3. Let it live. Let it live. In fact, I think my biggest problem with Resurrection is they didn't let it live. Like, they didn't let it die. She dies in Alien 3 and they didn't let it. More importantly to me than anything, and I saw glimpses of it, and I say glimpses, I think it's the bookends of Romulus, is do not miss out on the fact that this has been, since the beginning, a story about class warfare. These are regular people going up against major corporations, weapons manufacturers, these people that see that these corporations that see people as nothing but numbers on a spreadsheet. That is the permeating theme throughout this franchise. Don't lose sight of that. It is the guiding light. It is the through line for all the best movies in the entire franchise. Even the prequels, Covenant and Prometheus, have a tinge of that still laced in there. Do not forget that Alien at its core is a movie about the sins of the greedy affecting regular people.